Good day, good afternoon to everybody. I think we are speaking today with 80 participants. Thank you, Nikolai, for registration and for the announcing of this webinar. I would like to welcome Dean and Campus Director of Swiss School of Business Management, Professor Ivana Nobilo, to this
Nice
webinar.
To meet
Thank you so
everyone.
much. I see that we have a lot of countries today, from Canada to from one part of the world to another part of the world. So we can structure the webinar that way that maybe I start with presentation regarding Swiss School of Business Management. We have a headquarter campus in Geneva, and our second location is in Zagreb. And also we will discover new programs of SSBM, but just for a welcome word, so that you know more general information about our school. Of course, the most useful information you will receive from our dean. Miss Ivana, I give you a round of applause and let you start so that I can continue and follow up with some more practical questions.
Yeah, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon if you're in the other parts of the world. I will be very short for the beginning. Thank you, Ina, for doing this today. Ina will give you more into details questions, and then I'm here to answer all the questions that you might have by the end of this presentation. Just to give you a glimpse for our school, so Swiss School of Business and Management, as Zina said, the main campus is in Geneva, but also with our campus in Croatia, Zagreb, and now the new one opening in Paris. We are a global innovative school with a really, our technology is amazing. Everyone who is joining us, even for the online, because we do have online on campus and all kind of blended and flexible versions of studying, so a student can really join as they can, because most of our students are working students. Even our bachelor who are here on campus are working, so we are trying to make their schedule and our lectures in the afternoon and on Saturday, so that they are able to pursue their career even as an internship on the beginning, of course. We are welcoming students from 100 plus countries now, and have various programs. Why we are different, beside being the fastest growing school and the biggest by number of students, now over 3,000 active students in Switzerland. We are also very flexible by doing the schedule, by payment plan, and everything that flexibility brings. But then also with a close relationship with industries and our industry partners. So we have the great feedback, what is really needed on a job market, not only in Switzerland, but in Europe and globally. So we are opening all the time new programs. At the moment, beside the programs that Ina will tell you, which we do have already in the offer, we are just about to launch for the March, a new program, which is a Master of Science in Humanitarian Law and Human Rights Law, as well as sports management. And then for September 2023, Law and Management, which is really amazing and broad covering for many jobs you can do after it on a bachelor and master level from September 2023. Many specializations, and just to back and to put it then the end for this first part, We are super fast. And our partners know whoever works with us. So we are really one of the fastest partners that you can have, straightforward, trying to simplify things and to be fast as the market is. So putting all the time analyzing and gathering info from the market and from our partners and putting it back and integrating the new changes that we got from the feedback. Even in the 1 week, 2 weeks, we put it back, and that's how we are improving our assessing and then analyzing and then integrating, so improving the cycle of learning and experience working with us. So Ina, please lead the way now with the programs, and then I will be here to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the welcome part and introduction. I would like to show a few pictures of different campuses that we have. So you see, we are located in the business centers. We are surrounded by companies, and we are inviting all the time our students to visit real businesses so that they can search for internships in Switzerland. We are talking about community in Geneva that is graduating almost 50 new graduates per each intake. So our students, when they joined 3 years master program, then we have 1 year of master program, and 2 years can be their DBA program. We have a profile of the companies from where our students are coming and where they are going to search for internships. You can see here big brand names like Nestle, Procter & Gamble, Japan Tobacco International. You see part of private banking in Switzerland and also insurance companies. So we have a great student service department that is motivating students to go and search for these internships. We don't call it work because students are allowed to do internships only after 6 months of staying in Geneva. I'm talking about the non-EU students. So EU students, they have other, let's say, limitations and restrictions. That's why for international students, it's allowed to be a part-time intern after the 6 months of staying in Switzerland. And these are brands of the companies where our majority of students apply. And even if they go and work on paid internships or unpaid internships, it's really good resume to have in Geneva, experience of 1 up to 3 months. Sometimes it's up to 6 months short-term contracts. We call ourselves experts in business education. As Ivana mentioned, we are one of the fastest growing schools, and our programs, they are designed very easily in terms of flexibility. So we have blended programs, online and on-ground programs. We have our online electronic library that is licensed with EBSCO, and our students get innovative researchers. Our professors also can have study materials, and this is one of our points that is proven Swiss quality of education. So we are offering to our students and to our partners not only bachelor, master, and doctorate programs, but also executive programs on the short certificates. Let's say weekly, 2 weeks programs, up to 1 month programs, when people, professionals can come to Geneva and they can be specializing in finances or in supply chain, in blockchain, and we give a short course for a week only about this program, and then you are getting a diploma and not a you are getting not a diploma but a certificate of passing these courses. So average, who is our student? Average age of our student is about 30 up to 32, sometimes up to 35. When we are talking about the doctorate students, it can be even more, but this is average profile. As Ivana mentioned, we have also over 110 countries representative in our campuses, and people from 5 to 7 years of experience. This is average, but of course we're talking about bachelor students. We can consider them straight from the high school. For bachelor students, work experience is not required. But when we are talking about master, executive education and doctorate students, most of the cases we do have with work experience. Accelerated programs in a bachelor degree, Swiss and UK degree, sports management program is where we have a majority of our professors coming from international sport organizations like UEFA, FIFA, Arbitrage Court. We are surrounded by different organizations in Nyon and in Lausanne. It's Canton Vaud, next to Canton Geneva. So all these people are teaching in our school, and MBA programs. I will send all the brochures to our partners regarding master education, and also, as was mentioned by our dean, we have new programs coming from March 2023. Which will be joint programs, Geneva, Paris. And between these two cities, we can have mobilities. We can easily send student for 3 months either to Paris, either to receive a student from Paris for 3 months in Geneva, if only they can afford living costs. So for DBA program, there are 2 tracks, dissertation track or research strategic track. We are consulting students online, and we are consulting our agents. So when you work as a partner to SSBM, you are receiving package of services. We invite you to our online events, presentations, virtual campus tours. We will organize open days for our school. Whenever you have a wish to come to Geneva, we can offer you an invitation in terms of visa request and support your visa application. So you can visit campus, you can have pictures with our existing students, you can also ask them for their feedback and opinion. You can visit your students in case you will be sending from overseas, or let's say we have many partners in Turkey, Poland. We have a lot of countries that represent SSBM globally. One of the biggest partner is Upgrad. It's the agency that works in India. So they represent our master programs very broadly, and we have a huge number of students coming from this area. And by this slide, you can see the word others. Others is what I mentioned before. It's certificate programs that we can design addressed to each client. So when you have, let's say, people of 10 group, participants, 20 participants, we can adjust the pricing, and this pricing can be for certification in between, starting from 500 up to 1,000, depending of how many hours per day we teach and what kind of cultural activity, tourist activity people would like to have to be inside of these programs. Usually, majority of our students would like to visit the United Nations Library, as we are in Geneva, and United Nations after New York is represented only in Geneva, so we have access to some side events in this community, and also our students can have a part in human rights sessions that are organized annually 3 times per year, in September, in March, and in June. We can have that access so that they see like how real diplomatic world is working. And regarding learning experience, we have huge number of professors that are working professionals, and they combine practical and theoretical experience in the classes. We have lots of business cases, individual and group projects, when students can really develop a network, not only among students, but also with their professors. There are some talented professors that invite our students to be their interns. So it is another sector where you can search for internships in Geneva. We have a platform where each student has an access, and they are receiving their materials. So no matter if they are studying online or on campus, they are receiving quality studies. Of course, everything is recorded in a specialized studio when you have a good sound, a good Wi-Fi connection, and you are not receiving any unfocused let's say bad resolution. So this is really worth mentioning. And when we will jump to question answer part, I can describe more practically how you open visa to Switzerland, how we support our agents in terms of your work. So how we operate. Usually we sign an agreement with the agent and we work on commission basis. This commission basis also include the bonus structure. Depending on number of students that you are sending to SSBM, we created a package starting from 15 up to 30% of our commissions to the agents, to you as business to business partners. So starting from second student, you are already getting to the bonus structure. And as long as client is staying with SSBM, you are getting paid. So it's on annual basis. It's not like in many of Swiss business schools, agents are getting paid only for the first year because they don't have a guarantee that a student will stay all the process long studies. In SSBM, we see that our students are staying a majority in SSBM, they are not jumping around to business schools because they are very satisfied with the classes. We do have possibility to test this. We interview our students on a regular basis. After each class, they have questions, and they can describe what they think about each our professor. So we do have this type of enquete that we give and review so that we can be improved. When you work as a partner to SSBM, it's not only online events and consultations. We try to build long-term relationships. So our CRM is very transparent. We always attach your client name to a name of the company. You always know what was the deal of a contract that we signed with a student, and you can invoice us based on this contract. So we work on success basis. Online studies would bring you a profit straight because online studies require only access. And when we talk about on-ground studies, we are talking about visa open process to Switzerland. So sometimes it's taken from minimum 8 weeks up to 12 weeks to open Swiss visa and come to the country. So you are getting paid. The student is landed in the campus, and he already started his studies. Let's say in terms of the services that we are offering, if it is weekday, from Monday to Friday, of course, if it is group of students, we can always meet them from the airport and transport to the place where they are staying. Our accommodation services will send them full list of students' residences where they can fly in Geneva. Our students live in student residence halls together with other public universities or other private education sector. So they are together with all the students community in Geneva. And it's not reserved only for SSBM, so they can visit lots of events even outside the campus. We try to keep their time busy in the afternoons so that work day they can use in office hours for the internships. This is the way we structure our studies. When student is coming on campus, we give you package of the documents like final admission letter, like confirmation of enrollment, and you are passing this to client. And usually in the visa package, client needs to have certain requests done, like, for example, bank statement. To come to Switzerland for living, you need to have reserved on your bank account about 25 up to 30,000, either in Swiss francs, either in United States dollars, or in euro. If family has such amount of money to show to the embassy, this family will not have a trouble to get visa to Switzerland. Plus, we are talking about some age restrictions. So your bachelor student should be not more than 25 in terms of the age. Master student should be about 31 up to 32, and doctorate student can be, of course, more adult. And for bachelor students, for master students, it would be required to have an annual visa. And when we are talking about doctorate students, sometimes they do not apply for annual visa. They do prefer to come on campus on tourist visa and stay up to 90 days. It is saving costs. It is also saving their time because their studies are more part-time, and plus they don't need to leave their family, their career, and they still can have a Swiss diploma and develop their business opportunities. So as an agent, you are receiving a full package of the services from SSBM. We help you with visa, we help you with consultations, and we always support your sales. So whenever you need us to speak to your clients, we can switch on, do the webinar, do a presentation. Also, we visit physically B2B events and B2C events. So we do go for fairs, and we do send our representatives to international events like conferences and fairs. Whenever your company is organizing something, you also can inform us, and we will find a specialist who is responsible for this part of the world, who would come visit you, or you come visit us whenever you do your trips to Europe. So regarding my part as business to business, I think I covered majority of things. I would like to keep webinar short in terms of presentations. That's why maybe Ivana, you have something to add to your part regarding these new programs that we are opening with Paris, and then we will save another 25 minutes, as Mikola was advising, for the questions and answer part, to see which specific area we should cover in more details, or maybe you have an example and we can work on your specific example from the country. Thank you very much, and I'm staying with you until the end. We'll be happy to reply any question.
Yeah, thank you, Ina. I think actually maybe it's the best to go straight to the questions and answers so that we can see actually what is people, what they are interested about. Otherwise, I can, of course, talk about our programs for forever. Yeah, so you can start taking the questions, and if you cannot answer or you need my help, I'm here.
Of course. Inna, if you can please go to the Q&A section. It will be in the bottom, and just click answer
Okay.
live, and then you will be able just to speak for the answer.
Yes, of course, I can do that. What is the fee structure for bachelor and masters? So I would tell you that annually our bachelor program on campus in Geneva is 9,000 euros. Application fee to be able to apply is 200 euros. So 200 euros is not refundable fee. When student is applying for visa, we ask about 30% to be paid in advance, and then we can structure an individual payment plan for this student so that they can pay in installments. When we are talking about people who are studying online, we can straight away propose also the individual payment plan in installments. There is sometimes student who is paying full year ahead. It depends. So your commission will be also a little bit divided. So whenever we have a payment plan in installments, we will pay your commissions as soon as we are getting paid by a student. When we are talking about master studies, it is about 15,000 euro, all full program during the year. So you will have all fee structure from my side described. Online programs are cheaper. That's why also commissions depend on the type of a program that student is signed for. But I can tell you that our programs are very, let's say, affordable towards Swiss market. We are a pretty young institution. We are professional and quality institution. What we might not yet established, let's say we don't have this 100 history like in cases of some other, let's say, Swiss institutions. So we are working on being flexible in terms of our new programs, and we are very innovative in all what is considered to be digital marketing, what is digital programs and online studies. So these are our stronger keys.
Can I
Next
just
question I
jump in?
see.
I will just jump in, okay, please.
Please.
So Ina will provide you with all the fees. You can also find it in each by each program on our website. It's very clearly stated. So bachelor, we do have for 9,000, as Ina said, which is very, it's great price for a Swiss school, but we have for the Bachelor of Creative Management, for example, is 13. So also for the MBA, it's 15, but we have also cheaper and more expensive. So it's the best, Ina, if you can share everything with your partners. And for those who are still not, you can find it on web. I will just jump on this one. Are you saying a PhD student can come to study with a travel visa? No, anyone can come to study up to 90 days if it's not from European Union. So it's not about school, but about immigration of Switzerland. So governmental rules. People from United European Union have different status than from other countries. So if you are from out of EU, then you can come easily for up to 90 days per year. So DBA students, because we do have workshops here on the campus every month, but the most of work you're working alone and with your designated mentor. So either you have it him or her online, or you can meet on campus, but either you can come and stay up to 90 days, or you can keep coming 3 or even 5 times. It's up to you, or one time in 2 years, but in 1 year it cannot exceed 90 days. So it's easy, because then the lower instance is giving you a visa. If you're applying for a 1 year or 2 years student visa, then it goes to Bern, not to the Swiss embassy in your country, and then it's a longer procedure. Do you need any English requirement? Will be the another one. No. Why? Because we believe to our partners, that you will send us someone who can pass the course. Because if a student cannot pass the course, then he will or she will drop out, and we will not have any money. And so we do believe we do provide help with business English. We even have it as a part of our curriculum, and we have some extra classes for people who needs extra English. For these mandatory classes, it's within the program. For extra classes, they need to pay, but it's much cheaper than in any English school course around Geneva. Why we dropped on our tests? Because many people had tests from different countries, but then still their knowledge was not on a level that they can follow the program. Can students who study online come for graduation in Switzerland? Yes. They can, and some of our students finish online and then they come per graduation ceremony. They need to pay. I believe it's 100 or around, maybe you will have the exact number. And if they want extra to go to have the party, so the dinner, which is not mandatory, dinner and the party after that one, then they pay for that too. I think that this year it's around 190 altogether. We have one big one coming on the 15th of October. So you will be able to see it on social media how it goes, or Ina can share with you. Please share how much tuition fee needs to deposit before a visa and after a visa. So it's before you are coming, you need to have a deposit of 30,000. So some of them, especially bachelors, are either using it by bank statements, some of them even taking a loan, but not the real loan. I don't know how they call it in a finance, but so they sent in a case that they will need that money, that they can have a loan. So either it's a proof from the bank or from a family or sometimes from a friend. It's something that before you go in, you need to have, otherwise they will not, the visa will be rejected. So no need if they cannot prove that they have a possibility of getting 30K, you don't even need to bother, because it's not us as a school, but the government, and they will say no. When we were talking about age, Ina, when we was talking about age, it's just from the practical side. We know from the experience that younger people easier come and easier get visa, which is normal, because they think if you are in your late 30s and just starting bachelor, then you are not very prospective as a student. And then you're already probably in the job market of your country for 10, 12 years. So there is no added value for you to coming to Switzerland, but to stay and get the job, and then government will say no. So it's okay if you come to study and get the job together, but if you're only coming for a job, they know that, right? Please share eligibility requirements. So for a bachelor, you need to have a high school diploma. For the master level, you need to have a bachelor diploma. For the DBA, you need to have a master diploma. You can transfer in the middle of your bachelor after a year or 2 years. Then we need a transcript of your grades, so that in the case of campus Geneva, I would do that to see what is transferable as a points and as the grades in a sense of online. Then we have the Dino who will do that for you. And of course, everything that goes for visa requirements, so that you are not punished or being in a jail, student, or and the why 30% as a first installment, maybe now it's just to clarify it again, because Swiss government wants people to pay 30%, because then they think that it's they're serious about studying, because earlier 15, 20 years ago, requirements was only the application fee, but then people would pay and, you know, come to the country, stay, and never go to college. So now it's a 30%, but then if you don't get visa, these 30% would get, they get back, right? So that's it. How long does it take to get an admission after an application has been submitted? Ina will go with that one. We actually
Thank you
both.
very much, Ivana, for help. I was trying also to type and answer the questions in a real time and while you were presenting. So that's great always to have two speakers in the webinar, and we cover differently the parts. So I would say from practical experience, from admission side, we are pretty fast. So within few days, you will receive a reply from our admission team if we consider your student for bachelor, master, or DBA studies. Let's say when you send us package of documents, a diploma, translation, and maybe they have some recommendation letters, CV, motivation letter would be needed, because all these documents, they will show later on in the embassy. So while sending good documents to admissions, you are also, like, you know, killing two rabbits, because you also cover documents that would be needed for the embassy later on. We do not require English certificate, like Ivana already mentioned, but for the embassy, if students want to come physically to Geneva, it would be important. In some countries, preferences, they are only for IELTS and TOEFL. In some countries, Duolingo certificate will be also acceptable. So when you are sending student to Switzerland, you also need to contact consulate, which is locally based in the country, because consulate, they have every 3 months some changes, and the information can be updated almost on the daily basis on the webpage of the consulate. So as an institution who is working with 100 countries, we give standard package of the documents. But if in your country you have any extra need, let us know so that we can adjust our visa package. And as I told you, admission of your student might take from the partner from 2 to 3 days, but visa process would be from 2 months up to 3 months. So we are talking about physical presence in Geneva. I hope I covered this question. And please remember about age restriction, and please remember about bank accounts that students should confirm to the consulate. You were asking me the questions once again. So up from 20, 25, 30,000 should be in the bank account of your client if he wants to open his visa. Otherwise, he's risking just not to get it, or he will have a fake reason, let's say, that authorities are trying to send to applicants in case they do not see the credibility. So if you need us to sign your student for online program, it will be easier, because we will trust you, and if you say that English is a native language, or student was studying in English, or he knows it in a good level, we would believe you as a partner to be able to sign in him for a class without additional interview. That's why we try to have our enrollments, you know, like 50% coming from our digital traffic and 50% coming from the partners. It would be ideal situation, because we can work on big numbers, and we do not only provide you with on-ground campus studies. So you can work with SSBM in different formats. How long is the bachelor program? So bachelor program is 3 years. If you need it to be accelerated, we can shorten it up to 2 years. And we can also do a transfer. If student was in his country on a bachelor level and he wants us to do a mapping of his subjects and to do a shorter program, we can also with our dean see how many credit transcripts can be points of ECTS can be transferred. The same for master students. How many days or weeks it takes to issue offer letter? 2 or 3? I already replied this question 3 times. If it is a client who is coming from the digital traffic, sometimes it is up 3 up to 4 days, but it is not longer than a working week. Let's say if student applies from Monday, by Friday you can be sure that he gets contract and admission letters.
Inna, and what
I
about
see many
bilingual
questions
countries?
coming from India. Sorry?
And
Nikolai?
what about bilingual countries? For example, a lot of countries in Africa have like 2 or 3 official languages, and if English is going to be one of them, will this candidate also need any kind of language certificate or not?
I had many cases from Nigeria, and let's say, yeah, candidates were applying without this need. So if you need us as an institution to send a letter like student can be accepted if English was his native language, we can provide it. So as I told you, if any specific country would need an extra document than standard package for the visa, we can discuss it and we will able to support. For example, some students before they apply, they don't have address in Geneva. So we do provide a supporting letter where we mention that student can come to Geneva and have a reservation for 2-3 weeks, let's say in the hostel, while our student team is helping him to find appropriate accommodation address, because it is kind of complicated in Geneva in terms of address because all the residence halls they ask for a head payment, and sometimes when people didn't yet receive the visa, it is risky for them to pay also for accommodation if they don't know if they will be reimbursed. We reimburse, let's say, fully when student didn't receive a visa, and he is risking only 200 of euros in case he was denied. Our statistic is pretty good in terms of visas, so institution is well known. We are situated not far away from the office that is issuing students residence card. So we have established relationships and we can follow up in terms of the procedure. But let's say this is internal in the country, and external it is embassy. So that's why when you apply to Switzerland, you should have a patience from 2 to 3 months when we are talking about the visas. So of course, agents will invoice SSBM as soon as a student has a concrete answer from the embassy. We would not ask you to risk, but we will support you in each stage. Like, let's say, as soon as agreement is signed, it's not only that we are waiting. Straight away we give you a training, up to 5 trainings, up to 10, whatever you need. If you need feedbacks from the student, we can connect you with our academic team or student community so that they can also say points of view, because they experience studies from the campus, and they will be able to tell you feedback, and if it is critical or positive. We appreciate all kinds of feedback. There is a question about being late, but people will receive the recording, so
I
don't
answered,
worry if you are late.
and I answered. So don't worry. I picked it up.
And also about the
Great.
work eligibility, do your students tend to work during their studies?
Yes, they do. All
Majority
of our majority of our students who do work. The only thing that you need to have keep in mind, again, from the governmental point of view, so people who are not from EU, they are not allowed to work for the first 6 months. After 6 months, they are allowed to work as any other student, which is 15 hours per week. So not the whole 40 hours, because they need work time for study. But during the holidays, they can work full time, so all 40 hours. So in the last batch, for example, which is the closest one, all of our student bachelor also, not to mention the MBA and DBAs, are working.
And in terms of I would say, after graduation period, do students tend to stay in Switzerland on work, or do they tend to come back to their home countries? Like
So
from your
most of our,
experience.
from our experience, most of our students want to stay in Switzerland, or the majority, not all of them, but majority to stay either in Switzerland or to switch for some European country or UK and United States, depending on the industry that they are working at. And of course, job offer they might get. So it depends, of course, on the visa. So if you have a visa for a year and you finish your study in 10 months, then you still are. It's okay if you stay these 2 months. But if your visa is expiring, you need to leave. So it's about visa also, right? Not only the studies. So MBA programs, which are 60 ETCS points, are below even a year. You can start now in October and finish already in June, and by the end of June, if you are on time. And then you still have 4 months for searching for the job. But then Master of Science is a year and a half. So you go actually for the second year you are asking visa, but in both cases, as well as DBA is 2 years, but we have some students that didn't finish in 2 years, they needed more, so they asked for, and if they are on track with their studies, we do issue a letter of support and recommendation for the government to give them extra year. So it's about, you kind of a bit of calculation on visa.
And about if you're speaking with okay, if you're speaking about working with the agencies, I know it will definitely depend on the number of candidates that they can or will provide your institution with. But what would be like the average, if we can say plus minus like 5 to 6% commission for the agency, like approximately? Like I'm not going into the details because it's going to depend, but on average.
We have a standard package. I will cover this question because it's my part. So for all new agencies, we are proposing 15% for all period of studies for with SSBM. Starting from 3 clients, it's already bonus structure. So basically, depending on the number of clients that your agency is sending to SSBM, you are growing up to 30% on your commissions. And it is described very clearly in the agreement. We encourage you after this webinar to contact me. My email was and also WhatsApp number given in the chat. Nikolai, thank you very much for support, because I didn't notice that I was replying to you and not to the whole group. I was so excited that we have so many participants and questions, and this is really like a live discussion. This is the best that can be after COVID, as people are already used to digital communication, and we can maximize profits and save time and costs on travels. We encourage you to sign agreement with our school. I will meet with each of your company. I can train your sales managers regarding how to sell Switzerland as a brand. It's not about only cheese and chocolates. So it's really about good quality education, internships opportunities, possibilities for career. Every student that was in Geneva and will mention Geneva experience would gain anyway. No matter if he's going to home country, no matter if he's staying in Switzerland or going somewhere else abroad and applies for a job in, let's say, European Union. Every time he or she mentions Geneva in the CV, will higher level of their CV out of the other candidates that are applying for jobs. So to have Geneva in a CV, in your motivation letter, this already is like a brand, brand name, because everybody knows Switzerland is very transparent country and businesses work on a clear structure, and that's what professional world is searching for. They are searching for competences. And this is what SSBM is teaching. We give to people competences so that they are ready to go to this job market, and they are able to negotiate, they are able to fight, and like to have entrepreneurship mindset. Not all of our students, let's say, are dreaming to work from 8 to 6. Many of our students are creating their businesses. They would like to have their startups. They try to build network inside of the classroom because they see what their colleagues are doing. If you are stick to deadlines, if you are responsible, if you do your part of assignments on time. So this is a certain type of respect that we develop starting from the young age, because this is what we need in a professional world. Already classical way of studies, I'm sorry to say, but when you have 300 of people and one teacher that is only giving you theory and you are writing down, you will not be able to find even, let's say, 5 or 10 talented people, because backside will not even hear to what you say. They come only for attendance. That's why already classical way of education is not showing these results. That's why many people in certain age are searching for another certification or MBA diploma, because work experience is showing that small group education is bringing you to right results. Because when you have a group of students, 10, 20, up to 30, you are able to see these talents. You are able to motivate a student differently and to predict, to coach him what would be best for his career. I was doing from time to time orientation sessions to our students, and I already saw from the start who will finish, who was more motivated. And though I was not a professor, but there is certain type of business intuition when you work in this type of community. And when we say school of business management, you know that leaders, you cannot be born a leader. Like, let's be honest, we can only create a leader, teach a leader, because something is coming from family values, something is coming from your university and school values, because you spend time in education more than you spend at home. That's why, of course, our main idea is to create a professional who would come and work in the same time while he is studying, because without this professional and work experience, you cannot be a good student. If you are only studying, I'm sorry guys, but you are just boring. You have work, you are interesting, because everybody wants to connect with you and everybody wants to be around you. The last question that I see is visa guarantee if student fulfills the requirement of the embassy. As we mentioned before, each situation is individual and different. So we as institution give you all the opportunities to open your visa for client. If embassy in a specific demand will see that age of a student is too much, or he is too overqualified, or he may be finished already master degree in his country, that's why second degree is not needed, embassy can find a reason why to deny. But that's why we are here for you, to know each situation case by case, to know your client, to know the and be able to predict. That's why we are doing this business quite successfully, because we consult you and we teach you. You are not landed up like fish in the big ocean, having just marketing materials. This is not us. We will provide you training. You will have much more than only introduction webinar. Please keep this webinar as only introduction to establish communication, and we will be able to create business relationship together with each agency, because each country has different mentality. But we need you as partners, because you know your country, you have certain trust from your community, and that's why our institution is establishing very good relationship. We pay fast. We are not having any delays in our commissions. So what we can guarantee you speed, we can guarantee you quality, and we can guarantee you good communication. From my part, it's everything. If Ivana, you have any goodbye message from your side, you are welcome.
No, I don't like goodbye messages. I'm much better, welcome and let's stay together, or let's connect and work. So thank you for today. And I hope we'll meet you, all of you, in some other situations too, maybe even face to face. And whatever you need, we are open on many channels for communication.